ready to fight for and show that after all, the black man is capable of managing the world.
All right, good morning once again. Time for us to do a discussion on the internet auction fraud and matters arising out of that particular exercise in commerce. Now, being a global world, global village, as they put it, we are affected by so many things, bad and good. And so if the world out there experiences good stuff, we also experience it bad, we do, because we are interconnected. That's why it's very essential that we take a look at some of these issues, find a way of mitigating the effect that they have on us as a people. And this morning you realize that I have, even if I introduce them, I have read a little bit about them. I guess that it comes with a lot of lack of education, if you like, awareness creation and all that. You know, because first they are there. Some might be by accident, whatever it is, you might be defrauded anyway. So I have with me in the studio one gentleman who are here is well versed in some of these issues. Desmond Israel is the Executive Director, Information Security Architects. Good morning. Welcome, Desmond.
Thank you.
And the man who fights for us and asked me, all of us are consumers. I'm referring to Mr. Kofi Owusu. I nearly said that. Mr. Kofi Owusu, he's the Chief Executive, Consumer Protection Agency of the Republic of Ghana. Good morning, Kofi.
Good morning.
Kofi Owusu. I find it difficult to pronounce that one. It's easier for me to say Kofi Capito. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
How was your day yesterday, Founders Day? How did you celebrate it?
No, for me it was a bit hectic. My sister-in-law was getting married, so we spent the day supporting her.
Great. Kofi?
I did a little bit of keep fit.
Very essential.
East Legon executives. There's a new keep fit club in East Legon.
Okay.
Comprised of a lot of very
big shots, eh?
Big shots, actually. A lot of them. If you see the cars parked outside, you know. So
and after the keep fit, what happened?
Well, they did there's collaboration with Fitness First. I think they are based on in McCarthy Hills. Okay. And so they had the fun games. They had the usual thing. It was a nice day.
But you addressed my question. And after all that, what happened?
I wasn't there.
Okay. You and I wasn't there. All right. Okay. So time for business this morning anyway. Now, first of all, what is termed internet fraud?
Would make it very simple.
Great. For the lay person to understand.
Exactly. Fraud that is perpetrated using internet means or any internet platform is internet fraud. Okay. You would want to do further technical explanation, but largely might not benefit our listeners.
That one.
Exactly. And then fraud itself is misrepresentation of facts. If you produce certain facts to rely on for probably a profit gain or to the advantage of one and to the disadvantage of the other, then you are likely to perpetrate fraud. The Criminal Offences Act under Section 133 has its own definition for what fraud is. If you look at the Electronic Transactions Act as well, Section 190, it makes reference to Section 133. So it's clear, even legally in our jurisdiction, what fraud is. But internet fraud is fraud that you perpetrated using an internet platform or internet service. And as we go along, I'm sure I will be able to make some distinctions between the platforms and how it happens.
Great. Kofi, you are our head when it comes to issues of consumer protection in Ghana. Have you started internet fraud before? Before you tell me what you make of the whole discussion.
I had a privilege because this so-called electronic business started from the advanced countries. So I was out there when it started. So, and the funny thing is, I don't understand why Ghana, we always want to reinvent the wheel. In a sense that when it started outside, people actually were taken advantage of. And there, when people start complaining it doesn't take that long for them to close everything and then start to make things a little bit beneficial to the service provider and the person also assessing the service that they need. My question that I'll ask is there any rules of engagement as it pertains in Ghana when it comes to this e-commerce? I call it e-commerce, basically. And it's not just the internet. Now you have your mobile phones. Your mobile phones do the same things.
That's why e-commerce really is key.
So it is challenging. To me, I don't think we should allow people to take advantage of Ghanaians, especially when we can just look at what has happened somewhere and make sure that we even do it better. But we always want to play catch-up. That's the problem with our nation. Even when somebody has done it and he says, do the same or do better, we tend to do worse, which is very, very sad.
I see. Desmond, is it prevalent in Ghana?
Yes, it is.
To what extent?
Globally itself, internet fraud, it's a small fraction of internet crime. Where I sit professionally, internet crime is very vast.
That's right.
And fraud is just one part of it. Right. So it's the same concept because we are in a global village. Right. And recent times you've heard things from internet auction sites, internet classified sites like Tonaton and the likes. People making purchases and not receiving the items, you know, people are being misrepresented there. That's right. and a whole lot. So back to your question, yes, it is. You don't want to look at the ratio to answer that question because no matter how minimal it is, World Survey tells you that even 17% of internet fraud is still an issue for the consumer, the platform owner, and the legislator. I mean, the state to look at.
That's right. But Norma, let's find out, for the sake of our viewers this morning, practically, how do we transact e-commerce, e-business? How is it done?
Okay. You have a full commerce platform, which includes payment. And when you talk about e-commerce, there are different levels of it. You have government to business, government to government, business to business, business to consumer, consumer to consumer, or business to consumer. And the vice versa is also true. Now, each commerce platform that you take must have its own modules, which includes the transaction point and the payment point. So there is an advertising or an advertisement of the item on sale or the service available, and that takes place under the transaction module. And then there is a bit of the payment module, which also includes some form of delivery. In certain platforms, the delivery is not part of the platform owner's business, so they do probably up to payment, and then someone else takes care of delivery. When you take classified websites or internet auction sites, not all of them has payment models in them. Some are just classifieds, just like, you know, we used to have the newspaper classified adverts. So they give you the platform, the consumer comes up and says, look, I have this for sale. And then the interested party accesses the information, gets to the contact details, contacts the person. So you realize that that goes outside the control of the platform owner.
Absolutely so.
So now the transaction ends up between the consumer and the consumer, away from the internet. That has its own level of risk and fraud coming with it. But if you take a platform that includes probably payments, then you are looking at credit card theft, identity theft, which are most prevalent when it comes to online fraud. That includes payment modules. And then when you look at one which has to the end, delivery, where the platform owner is not in charge of delivery, you are likely to have chances that the items may or may not be delivered. And it also depends on what kind of delivery service they use. And not to mention names, there are local portals that are doing delivery end-to-end. Ghanaian portals. You make a request for an item, you negotiate for the item, and they give you options: payment on delivery or payment before delivery. And I would say something ahead. Whenever you're dealing with internet business, the due diligence is on you, the consumer.
That's right.
The due diligence, honestly, is on you, because you have to be 100% sure you're giving your money to a tangible figure. There is another school of thought that would come in and say, well, we still do business on the internet without seeing faces. But you should have done some level of due diligence, because you're taking a risk. If you go online and you saw a classified, probably a car, and you are interested in buying that very car, it is honors on the consumer who is interested in buying the car to confirm where the car is, its condition, and its payment method. And it's because we fail to do all these things, trying to play on convenience, or is in the internet, I've seen the car, it's okay. We easily fall to certain scams, like the payment ahead. You see the item, you are interested in it, you make the request, then the seller tells you, pay this amount of money, I'm probably in Bogatanga, and you are in Accra, and it's so inconvenient for you to go all the way there. So pay the money. I'm going to send the car down to you. I mean, you just open yourself to 99% risk in that transaction, because you don't know the other party on the other side. So you realize that it's the whole model of e-commerce that actually creates the vulnerabilities, and it's not different from anything else we do.
I see.
The vulnerability comes with the system.
Kofi, let me come to you on this. So I'm interested in the bit where it says that the onus lies on the if like the one going to buy, the buyer, to do due diligence. Are we in the right frame of mind if we have to do that? For instance, if you see somebody who wants to buy, I mean, just a potential buyer, he knows absolutely nothing about a product he wants to buy, but he sees it, he likes it. I mean, you don't think that we're not being shortchanged, being given raw deal as a consumer?
Yes, I understand where it's coming from, but in the other jurisdictions, that's why you have certification, accreditation, whether even the regulator itself will say that I know this person. For example, if you look at eBay, there are other major players in there, but eBay, everybody knows eBay. eBay as a company has made it in a way that there's no way that you can defraud any, because if you do, eBay acts as the mediator or the guarantor on behalf of me. And if you are a bad customer in terms of you selling your item, if I don't get it, eBay will make sure they come after you, because they know how to get after, to come after you. So it makes it more lucrative. In Ghana, I ask myself, who's a regulator? Probably some of the rules, the regulations are under NCA, because they are supposed to be in charge of electronic media, electronic, communications.
That's right.
The question is, we should have other people who are also involved. It is interesting that a country like Ghana, you cannot even do, what's it called? Paper.
Paper, okay.
We can't even do paper. Why can't we do paper? It is interesting. We don't set up institutions to make sure that we are playing according to the best international standards. Fraudsters would always be with us. Fraudsters would always be with us. But what does the authorities do when we even complain or report that there's a fraudster? Yes, the police service, every now and then you hear that of gone and arrested and all those things. If you look at what was prevailing a few years ago, now you don't even hear the word anymore. Sakawa. Sakawa was predominantly internet fraud, basically. But the question is, it's not just in Ghana. Even the boys in Ghana got the credit cards from another site. Online. Online.
I see.
But the businesses that had been defrauded or were being defrauded has now managed to close in a lot of these things. That's why you don't hear too much from the Sakawa boys anymore. Not that they don't exist, but it's been so regulated, or it's been so difficult for them to do what they used to do maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago. See, that is what we don't do in Ghana. We will let it ride. Oh, no, the question is, somebody is paid to do a service on behalf of me as a Ghanaian citizen, being a regulator, being the laws that will be put in place. If the laws are not that strong, let's change the laws, make it stronger.
Okay. Desmond, assuming you send a house as a property online, you want to buy, and the house is situated in Bogatanga, for instance, you and Accra, we're talking about due diligence. How do you expect the potential buyer to know the details of the house, you know, specifications and all that before making payments?
Okay. Let's start it this way.
Right.
You're interested in the house.
That's right.
You need to be sure about the agent.
Now, before the agent.
Exactly. Secondly, you need to ensure also that you have a third-party contact ahead if you can make it there.
Okay.
I'm saying this because I'll come to touch on Capito's
You want to do that
points.
first before you go to this one?
No, I want to finish.
Great. All right,
I'll touch on his points because, yes, there needs to be standards.
Okay.
And I'll explain further.
All right, great.
Yes, you need to get your third-party agent
okay.
if you can't be there
Okay.
to verify. The existence of the item is important. Even if it is service, the existence of the service provider is important.
Okay.
It must be justified that exists. Now, let me just roll it back without internet.
Okay.
If you want to make a purchase, how would you otherwise have done that? You would have definitely have sent somebody, or you would have gone yourself to confirm if whatever you are interested in is there. Either you go to the garage to confirm it, or you meet your real estate agent. And even with that brick and mortar kind of business, we still had fraud in there. Okay, so the perpetration of fraud was not invented by technology. Technology only made it easier. So if you were not circumspect from the brick and mortar system, then you are still going to carry that kind of laziness into the internet platform, and technology will make it easier for you to be defrauded 100 times.
That's right.
And I agree with him. Coming back to standards, I'll take, for example, the Internet Crime Complaint Center in the US. Now, this is a center that manages to tap into reports from all commerce websites. So, like he said, eBay has a fallback. If there is an issue, there is somewhere to go to make those complaints. Now, eBay and Craigslist and all these other top-notch, commerce sites, they have the backbone. They were the pace setters of this business. So they've done enough work for you to be able to tap into that knowledge and then bring it over and make it work.
That's right.
Like he said.
Yeah.
But who sets the standards? Are we going to keep our standards to the Electronic Transactions Act or the Electronic Communications Act? Where exactly are we going to start from? Because if we want to do that, then we need to set up institutions to be able to hold that. It is not enough to just pass the legislation. And I'll give you a typical example.
Okay.
There is the Data Protection Act. I don't know if you are aware. Now, the Data Protection Act actually mandates anybody that collects data concerning a client consumer, whether to be processed or stored, to register with the Data Protection Agency. Has any of these commerce sites done it? I'm asking an open question.
But the question I'll ask is, whoever that passed that law or made that bill, what did he put in place?
Good. So I was coming there. So then how are the standards fortified? Exactly. The standards have been set. Let's just assume the standards were set by legislation.
Okay.
How are the standards then going to be pushed in? If you go to my industry, International Standards Organization, ISO 27001 and 2, this is a standard of how any ISMS system should run. Now, for us to be able to adhere to it, it comes with auditing. So there are certified auditors and lead implementers who would make sure that if Bank A claims to be ISO certified, it should have gone through the drill. So if we come up with Data Protection Act, Electronic Transaction Act, purportedly to protect our electronic transactions, then we need to move a step further. How many security experts are engaged to even fine-tune how some of these websites are built? I can tell you, it would be easier to crack any of those portals open and tell you how many legitimate registrants are on the sites and there are details that exist there. So it goes back again, identity theft. Even beyond fraud, what kind of measures have been put in place to ensure these things are checked? Up until I saw a number of reports about internet fraud, and I'll be honest, on particular websites that were offering these comments and classifieds, I never saw them producing features to report abuse.
I see.
It's up until recently that I begin to cross-check it and that I realized that now there are buttons for you to report abuse. So that if I were a consumer on one of those sites and I have been defrauded, I have to report that particular classified advert so that the content manager will take action. But Capital would ask again, what action would be taken? And who is going to enforce that action is taken? How many times can someone be defrauded for us to say that this is substandard? Who is doing all these checks? So yes, we need to put the standards in there, end to end, from the development of those portals to their implementation, to their management and monitoring. You go on the portals, and I'm coming back to my consumer again. When you visit a portal, like Tonaton, for instance, you're supposed to look out for privacy statements and look out for terms and conditions. And I'm saying this because some of them have indemnified themselves to a certain level. You open some of their privacy statements, they are telling you how far they will use your data. The fact that you are on the site, the website, presumably states that you have agreed to the privacy statement. You have agreed to the terms and conditions. So even when the Consumer Protection Agency wants to protect you, then the loopholes come in legally. And you know, law, it's very, very regimental. You need to go by the principles. Did you agree to the contract terms or not? You know, you can create loopholes on the other side to try and punish some of these people. But yes, we need to have our standards right. We need to engage professionals for us to be able to do this work and do it properly. eBay, Craigslist, and the rest, they have security consultants who consult for them on even data mining to produce trends that will tell you that when you see these kind of adverts coming into our system, they are likely to be fraud because they have studied, and that's why we are in the big data era.
That's it. Kofi, I'm asking a question briefly, and I'll link that to you. Desmond, you don't think that we are suffering as what we're suffering all these frauds as a nation because we don't give much respect to consumers in this country? Do you think that we respect the rights of consumers in this country?
I'm a consumer, so I'll speak for myself.
Great. You think so? Great. Then straight to Kofi.
You know, it's interesting when he was talking about the fact that you're on somebody's, is it portal or platform?
Platform. Okay.
He has a right to abuse your right, your information. He should give you. No. I'm not saying that. You said no. You actually trying to educate people that this is what sometimes will happen.
That's right.
But the question is,
the
question is, they should give you a box for you to tick and say, I agree with the terms and conditions.
Exactly.
Once you do that yourself, that means you the consumer, has agreed to the terms and conditions.
Exactly. You see a box there. Once you click on it, accept it. If you don't,
but what is interesting is some of those sites will not even allow you to proceed if you don't agree to the tick
That's
box.
Right. Great.
Okay,
Great.
so that is where he was coming from.
That's right.
But the question is, you should give me the option. Now there are other places that you will hit continue without agreeing to the terms and conditions.
Or next.
Yeah, you know. So these are the kind of things that we could look. I was amazed when I turned on my television in Ghana and I saw people doing this e-business. And I was speaking to one of your ladies and she was so, oh yes, it works. You know, even when I was selling my, I told the person to meet me at a neutral grounds. And I said, what if you take the thing and you got home and the thing is not working? You don't even know where to find the person.
And it happens a lot.
Because
it wasn't tested at the neutral ground.
No.
And items have even been swapped.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's why I said beyond technology, the tricks are still there.
You know, so to me, I think for us to do this thing better, especially the people that have been are the pioneers in Ghana, I think they should take it a notch higher, make it more of a proper protection for themselves and their subscribers as well, so that the fraudsters cannot actually tarnish their good image. Okay, because if you tell me this is a platform that I'm going to do some e-commerce on, and somebody says, I have a Rolex watch to sell. I mean, ideally, as a consumer, anybody who tells you I have a Rolex for $1,000 is a thief. Okay, so you should know.
You should know.
The deal is too juicy.
You should know. You know, like I say, you know, if it works like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. You know, so these things are some of the things that, yes, the consumer, him or herself, needs to be empowered, needs to have a lot of information, needs to know exactly what they want. You need to look at the fine print, what you're getting yourself into, and everything. But sometimes there is deception or misleading. That one, if you get a good lawyer, if you get a judge that has a good ear, would educate the case in your favor, because the conditions should be fair to you and to me.
And clearly spelled out. But Desmond, can we have a situation where we can only, as a consumer, only pay upon inspection of a product or service we like? Is it possible?
But we were doing it before. Look, like you said, if you want to buy a house now, if I want to go and buy a house at anywhere, any of these developers, right? Okay. Actually, even that one, I agree with you, because I have friends who are still in the diaspora, and you will be surprised to see the misleading information.
That's why I'm asking that question.
They will tell you property in East Legon, and the property is somewhere in Domonia, was it? Doyomu, somewhere. Okay, and then you see they talk about East Legon Hills, and it's nowhere near East Legon. So that is also a big issue now, misleading information. So somebody lives somewhere outside Ghana. Okay, I don't want to go through my brother, my cousin who chopped my money last time. So now I want to buy the property straight, finished product, okay? And then you send the money, they tell you, oh, you are at Ridge. They don't tell whether it's Roman Ridge or not Ridge. They say Ridge.
Ridge.
So when they put you on the Equapian Mountain, it's a Ridge.
You know? How do we go around it? Because otherwise we'll keep falling victim to some of these things, because we're so vulnerable. Actually, how do we ensure as consumers, you know, that we don't fall to, you know, these things, some of these scams?
First, let's start with the regulator.
Okay.
If a portal is coming up or a commerce site is coming up for maybe a business of real estate, I think, and I subscribe to the school of thought, that the regulator should have to tie a prominent existing real estate agent or real estate infrastructure to the online portal, they should be allowed to sort of get some mentoring, or the business face should be a credible entity. I know the guys in technology will say, well, how would you know that this website is up, and how would you know that this is running? And that's where we've also failed severally. Our internet registry, our domain registry, how is it monitored? In other jurisdictions, they monitor their domain registry to the extent that they can blacklist the domain, and it's non-existent. If we have a problem with a portal site, a commerce site that is prevalently, people are always being defrauded, they'll just blacklist it, because it's obvious you are not doing enough to protect the consumer. And that's why I'm saying I'll start with the regulator. So what are the standards there? And it's a mix of things. The law will come to play, the public policy will come to play, technology will come to play, all other factors that otherwise, and even the specific industry knowledge. If it's real estate, what are some of the things that needs to be put in there? If I'm posting that my house is for sale, what are some of the key things that I need to bring in there to help the consumer otherwise to be able to also ascertain if, yes, the property really exists or not? Today, you can even do point locations with Google Map and the rest. You know, some of the standards needs to be enforced. We need an internet task force, our own internet task force, to do these sort of things. I mean, if we dedicate time to it, we are going to get results. If we move into the platform owners, they need to do more than allowing posts.
Okay.
Scrutinize the posts. You need to ensure that whoever is making those posts has some sort of, you need to give them standards that would give you, a sense of security that, well, if you produce this sort of information, then we are likely to be sure that when there is an issue, we can track you. How about even asking the person to put in some sort of, a national ID, which you can otherwise cross-check? We can't speak for the platform owners, but we can say that you can do more than you are doing now. You'd have to put in security measures yourself to help protect the consumer. Then for the consumer, I will just go back to to how I started.
That's right.
You have to be circumspect. Because the business of e-commerce is the same business of commerce.
That's right.
Without the E.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes. The consumer aspect, that is why the regulator comes in. That is why enforcement comes in. There's a site called, is it Rarula or something like that? I've forgotten.
Okay.
I wanted to, my cousin in America is on it. They have reasonable stuff. So I have to introduce you. So I cannot just go with that, because he has been on it. And they take certain things before they make you a member. So they have put in those things. So he introducing me. If I do anything that is not proper, they'll go to him, they'll come to me.
Great.
Okay. The consumer, basically, like I said, they say buyer beware. That is the standard. But the question is, if angels were that good, God will not get angry and sack Lucifer. Okay.
That's right.
So there's always
got some bad nuts.
Bad nuts in there. I'm sure we cannot say we will also not engage ourselves in this new phenomenon, which is this whole electronic thing. It's made, he was talking about the normal commerce without the E. The E has made it more convenient for me. I don't need to get on a plane and come to Ghana and go and inspect a building somewhere. If you have the pictures online, everything, you give me the virtual tour, I can see what I'm buying. I'm happy. I agree.
Then you would need an agent.
No, I'm just saying no.
Okay.
In other jurisdictions, they give you virtual tour.
I see.
Okay.
You don't need anybody to go
no,
inspect
because
on your behalf.
You cannot force represent.
Yes.
If you tell me that I'm buying,
right, you're right.
I'm buying, you are selling me a 4-bedroom house. It comes with a jacuzzi, fitted kitchen, 2-car garage, okay, and all that. And I come and it's no garage. You have actually misled me.
That's right.
Okay, so this is where, yes, consumers need to be aware. But rules should be put in place that to actually stop the bad people.
That's right.
Because humans would always find a better way of taking advantage of, you know, of others. But the question is, how do we ensure that we have the minimum? Okay, look, the sophisticated people, the advanced countries, they are still being defrauded.
Yes.
You're
right.
Yeah, they are still being defrauded.
You're right.
Was it a couple of years ago that I was amazed that two brothers who were in jail, they were in jail in America, they managed to steal 25 million identities. They were in jail. Not that they were outside. Not that that's what took them to jail.
They were in jail and they
were
did
in
that.
jail. Yeah.
Wow. These are daring.
No, we see, because you see, it is easy. I am a little bit sometimes disappointed when we tagged some of these young men, even though maybe the way they started was wrong. We could engage them in a positive way.
That's right.
For them, even for them to be the watchdogs or whatever.
Exactly.
For this, because
right.
because they've been doing it. They know what it takes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Look, IBM had their software or their system broken into for a very long time. Then they were able to trace it to a very young boy. He was about 13, 14 years old. He did it for fun. Then they took him to court. He was a juvenile. So the court said, okay, fine. Don't go there on internet for so many years, blah, blah, blah.
That's right.
The boy could not resist. At the third time, IBM realized that, no, let's engage this boy.
That's right.
So they took the boy in, took him to college, everything. The boy now is in charge of their security department.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
In Ghana, we throw you away for our money.
If you throw to jail, you go to jail sharp.
Do you understand what I'm, you know?
Right, yeah.
You see, that is what, so sometimes my office used to be next to an internet cafe. And I was amazed to see how these young boys, some of them don't even have a formal education. No, they are like high school dropouts. Okay, or
smart,
junior SS boys. The way they could manipulate.
They're so sharp.
And they will tell me, I mean, seriously. But these boys could have been redirected, okay, in a positive way instead of what they were doing. I have lots of them who are my friends around Adaraka area, you know. But when I have a difficulty with my phones. Hey, come. Oh, 1 minute, boom, they've done it. Me, it will take me years. But it is their time. Let's engage them. Let's make sure that they do the good things that other kids outside are doing, not just only for them to defraud some old white man, old white lady, and then, you know, the whole myth about we always want to concoct other issues about positive things. This Sakawa thing is just pure internet fraud. Okay, but they made it like they've gotten some juju from somewhere. I hear somewhere sleeping in the cemeteries and they will not even bathe. And come on now.
Desmond, can we, if you like, detach the platform owner from a crime committed, a fraud committed on this platform? Assuming, for instance, you said earlier on that the payment side could be detached from, you know, the classified and all that. In case of a lawsuit, can that fellow be detached?
The lawyers will tell you may or may not.
Okay.
Depends on the facts of the case in point. Like Kofi said earlier, if the website in question did not give opportunity to the consumer to otherwise agree to some of the terms or not, then depending on how the fraud is perpetrated, you might find yourself in trouble.
That's right.
Because, like I started by telling you, in our jurisdiction, misrepresentation is a crime under the Criminal Offences Act. and the Electronic Transactions Act, where all these things falls, refers to that provision.
That's right.
So prima facie, we have a crime in our hands. Now, how the courts are going to interpret that would definitely be left to the facts of the case, maybe expert evidence. You know, the courts will admit expert evidence just to be sure that, yes, you could be liable or not. So in my own point of view, it could vary. The platform owner could be or could not be, yes. But they should be worried, because this, apart from the effect on the consumer, there's a reputational issue.
That's right. I
can count up to 6 to 7 people in my immediate environment in the office who would not do any transaction on Tonaton. Unfortunately so. Because the perception is Tonaton makes it easier for fraudsters to thrive. It could be true or not. That depends. Perception. That's a perception. That's right. Yeah. It could also depend on how the platform owner, to what extent have they been able to protect the consumer or the users of their portal. If you leave all the
owner has the possibility of protecting the user.
Yes, that's why he started by saying if the standards are there and the enforcer is enforcing the standards, then the platform owner would do certain things that would otherwise protect the consumer.
I see.
But the fact that the standards are not there should not just leave you to operate in vacuum. You'd have to develop your own standards. Before the Internet Crime Complaint Center was established and all that, eBay and the rest were protecting their reputation by creating an environment where consumers could be 100% sure that when they transact, the likelihood of fraud is very minimal. He mentioned a site. He wasn't too sure about the domain. I would have been interested in checking, but I remember he mentioned a site where he says they work with referral. That's a very smart move. So we start with critical people, establishments, reputational names that are in the business. If it's real estate, we have a list of real estate agents who are reputable, insurance brokers who are reputable, car dealers who are reputable. So now if an individual wants to transact, a reputable entity would have to now recommend you on the website, so it doesn't become a free-for-all. So he has even sold them an idea from another jurisdiction. So the earlier they take it, the better.
We're talking about cars. There's a car, one of the biggest second-hand used dealers in America called CarMax. Yes, CarMax does business on the line. But CarMax is held to the industry standard. So CarMax cannot sell you a bad car. If CarMax sells you a bad car, you can take the car back. And if they don't, CarMax will be held. Look, there's a chain, as he's talking about. Me, when I go on the platform, use my credit card or whatever, then the company will then tell me that, oh, some of them will tell you if you buy over a certain amount, free shipping. That means they will pay for the shipment. If not, I have to pay for the shipping myself. $5.99 or $7.99. It depends. So then whether the post office, FedEx, DHL is the one who is doing the delivery. Okay. So if they say they've shipped an item to me, okay, and I come home and I don't have it, I call them, they call DHL to make sure that the item was delivered. So that whole system works. Here, like I'm saying, I don't want to mention names, but the issue is, like I said, I am scared the way we are doing it here in Ghana, where there are no rules of engagement, you know, Wild Wild West. I meet you at the corner, you meet me at the junction, we do business, and we go. But meanwhile, somebody on a platform brought us together. Okay, it's a different thing if you and I are doing one-man business somewhere. But there is somebody that I am trusting that person, that if he allows you or me to come on that platform, we should be able to be protected. I don't understand why, you know, when I watch, and then the other one, something X, something.
I don't want to mention that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, when and even, it's not just in Ghana, it's in Nigeria, it's in other places. And
it's not that I don't want to. Some of us in this part of the world, we don't really even want to tell the truth, because that's why when a policeman arrests somebody, he has to slap him before the man will confess. But ordinarily, in the other markets, you engage the person, 2 minutes interrogation, they will confess. Here, you have to slap him.
To force the truth out of him. Anyway, we come to the end of the discussion this morning. Actually, we're expecting Chief Superintendent Felix Emausi, Director of Fraud Unit of the Ghana Police Service, CID, to be here, but he called at the last hour to inform that he couldn't make it. So he would have given us a perspective of their security, what they're doing and all that. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. Let me say thank you to you, Bob. But before I go, can you give me 15 seconds? Cynthia, 15 seconds of your time, 15 seconds each. Final words, 15. Cynthia, give her 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
Okay. Would be fair to platform owners. There's a limit to which everybody can go. We have the classifieds who only deals with providing the information, and the consumer will transact their business. Then we have those who are interested in providing you with the item, making sure payment is done, and then delivery is done. And there are those who are interested in making sure you get the item and you pay, and then delivery is probably outsourced to somebody else. The standards should be in place. The consumer should still be aware. I'm going to leave here, keep saying that. And internet portal sites to protect their reputation by ensuring that they engage the necessary experts to put up their system.
Fantastic. Kofi, 15 seconds. Sharp. Go.
I would say, not that we are not ready to do this thing, but I think people should be very, very concerned. You just don't jump into the deep sea when you don't know how to swim.
All right.
And I think that's what we do in Ghana. We tend to jump into the deep sea, and then all of a sudden,
because others are jumping. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kofi Osu-Hine, Chief Executive, Consumer Protection Agency of Ghana, and also Desmond Israel, is Executive Director, Information Security Architect. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So the show is still on. Ellen will be back, and I'm sure she's not going to be deferred in terms of time. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Presbyterian Church of Ghana was established in 1828 by the Basel